So in this episode, we're going to talk a little crime and punishment, NBA style. So this is a pretty big one. And like the old saying goes, the best way to win that gambling is to don't play. So let's break it down. So according to the reports, the feds, they bust former NBA player, Trailblazers head coach, Chauncey Billups, former NBA player Terry Rozier, and a lot of other people pretty much have been indicted, allegedly accepting bribes from the mob, the official mob, Cosa Nostra, in regards to gambling. So pretty much they've been indicted in a gambling ring involving the mob. Now, Chauncey Billups, from what I'm hearing, well, keep in mind, he was also the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. So they're saying, or they're claiming that, hey, the Trailblazers was already planning on tanking games, and he gave the heads up to a lot of these gambling rackets who he was working with that, hey man, start betting against us because we about to start losing, in other words. And according to the reports, he had already been accepting money, so he was kind of already on the payroll. As well as they claiming that not only for the NBA, but he was involved in a separate poker ring where he was, of course, getting his cut for bringing new customers into the fold, per se. So, what do I got to say about this, y'all? Well, this is nothing new. Gambling has been going on in sports probably since the beginning. Now, of course, now it's being more front and center. And also, wherever there's a whole lot of money involved, there's usually going to be some level of corruption. In any industry, I shall say, where there's that much money involved, there's definitely going to be corruption. And it's no different in this case. And you know how the feds do. They don't wait. They very patient, and they wait, collect evidence, and they usually don't move until they got you. So according to them, this has been going on over a few years. And alright, see, this is the thing. Well, of course, we know gambling is legal for the most part. Now, of course, you can't be gambling when you in the same, how should I put it, not necessarily the same industry, but when you in on it, because it becomes a conflict of interest. But see, this is the thing, because I do a little sports gambling. Not much, but I do a little sports gambling. And as you study gambling in sports and etc., and you kind of really put two and two together and come to the conclusion that most of these sports analyst talk shows is geared to the gambler, not just the average sports fan. Now, if you watching and listening with the untrained ear, you won't know the difference. And for years, I was listening with an untrained ear, and I didn't know the difference. But once I got a little experienced, when I watch these analyst shows, you can read the encoded language just by how they speaking. They talking to the gambler. They not talking to the fan. So everything they speaking when it comes to analytics and all that, it all surrounds around gambling, not fandom. Now, you may think it's fandom, but again, if you got a trained ear, you can really hear and you see, and it becomes obvious. Real obvious, actually. It is all geared on gambling, sports and gambling. We know there's plenty of apps now where the gambling is geared towards sports gambling apps, so to speak. And now more and more states are being more lenient because, of course, of the money. And then now I'm thinking this is probably not the full reason, of course, but it all coincides with why Las Vegas is going down or losing popularity, so to speak. But essentially what's going on is because we in a whole new world, man. This whole AI internet world, you really don't have to go nowhere to do no gambling. So I think that the casinos or the whole Vegas, the capacity is changing. It ain't just a place where anybody go, you can load money, the crowd, they don't care about that no more. They want exclusive money. So down Vegas is gearing towards the exclusive money to where you don't really have to have some money to play with in order to go to Vegas and really have a decent time. You can't really go to Vegas on a shoestring no more and hopefully come up or just have fun partying or walking around enjoying the sights. That it ain't gonna be like that too much. And it's just because they hurdling all the people into these terminals. That way they can place wagers and gamble online. You don't really got to go nowhere. So that's where I see it's going. But in the meantime, it appears they're going to be cleaning house. A whole lot of cleanup in the meantime. Call it collateral damage or what have you. Because now as I'm looking, now according to these reports, y'all, pretty much says NBA gambling scandal, 4 teams, 4 mafia families teamed up for a $7 million scheme, officials say. And then they say, of course, Chauncey Billups, Scary Terry Rozier, been arrested in a major gambling bust involving the 4 families. And then they're saying that a friend of LeBron James, a guy by the name of Damon Jones, who may be caught up in the middle somehow. And as a result, they trying to say the Lakers, Raptors, Hornets, and the Trail Blazers is involved in the NBA gambling scandal. So what that probably means is players or officials, people who worked for these teams that was on the payroll, somehow involved in this gambling in bed with the mob, pretty much. Whether they was leaking information, they probably was already on a payroll from the mob. And of course, when certain tips, insights or whatever, they would send that info over, pretty much. So, and from the looks of this, y'all, this is just the beginning. I'm sure it's going to be more NBA players, probably former NBA players involved. And then they may hit Chauncey kind of hard, being that he was the active head coach. So it's kind of like, man, that's a hell of a conflict of interest. And you already know, Chauncey, I ain't got to tell you. And yeah, we can say this has been going on and it's probably going to continue to go on. And it's probably a lot more still going on under the table. But that's the part, it's under the table. And those who was playing over the table or you got caught up in that, man, it ain't going to look too good for y'all. They probably going to try to make an example of y'all. Y'all know how it's done. They're going to plaster y'all on the news outlets. Some of y'all may even be the fall guy or the fall people for other bigger fish. And that's the name of the game. But I can see in the future more and more scandals like this going to start coming out the woodworks. I'm already hearing of a potential steroid scandal regarding NBA players. You know, so there's going to be plenty more of this, y'all. We might as well prepare. And hey man, it is what it is. Again, man, whenever there's a whole lot of money involved, there's probably going to be a level of corruption to some extent. Now, of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg because now that I'm thinking, sports is very big. 7 million, yeah, that's a lot of money. With that's a mere pittance to the amount of money that's being made above the table and below the table. That's 7 mil is like crumbs, which is why these NBA players get paid so much money due to the money that's put into it, and of course not just by the ownership, but just by us, the consumer. We the ones that really make it what it is. This is why the WNBA don't get paid as much. It ain't the fact that they hating on the females. It's just that y'all ain't got that many fans or customers that's putting that much money into that league in order for them to pay out. But this ain't about that though. This is just pretty much keeping y'all up to date on what's going on. And there's going to be plenty more where this come from. I can see that already. But, yeah, man, I really ain't got too much to say about it because, gambling is legal now. But, of course, if you working for a certain company or industry, by you gambling or endeavoring may be a conflict of interest. And that's the part that's going to get you in trouble. As we seen it just did Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and a few others. So, take that how y'all want, man. Again, man, only way to win in gambling, man, is don't play. And I know you're scared money don't make no money. Cuz